Okay, hi guys, thanks for joining me again for another one of these inspirational records, artists, person type video. Looking at the people that really inspired me creatively and musically and everything. And this is one that I guess some people, going back through my interviews and stuff, I kind of realised I didn't really talk about this band much at all really, and yet they play quite a big part, I've discovered recently, in my whole musical makeup and background, and that's the Monkees. Yes, the Monkees, the Prefab Four. Now I started watching the Monkees on, I think it was Swap Shop. It was either within the programme Swap Shop, or it was on before Swap Shop started, or something, or both. And it may even have been on when I got back home from school. Now, obviously, I'm not old enough to be born in the 60s. I was actually born in the 70s. 70, in fact, so I just scraped out. I just missed out. You could look at it either way. Now I'm getting older, it's like, ugh. But anyway. And they used to show them, and I used to love it. I used to watch them. I mean, what's not to like for a 9 or 10-year-old just getting into music, watching a show on Saturday with your tea and biscuits about a band that all live together, play cool sounding songs, run about the beach and do crazy stuff on like unicycles or whatever they were, and in a monkey mobile driving around, falling in love every other week or something, and getting up to all sorts of hijinks. And of course I didn't realise at the time that it was based on the Beatles, basically, Hard Day's Night and Help, those two films, and some of their promo videos. I had no idea, but it didn't matter, and it still doesn't matter now. So yeah, I used to sit there and watch it, and I used to love it. And I have to say, my love of playing tambourine and maracas and tambourine came from watching Davy Jones playing with a two fists full of maracas, shaking them crazily and dancing with that Beatle haircut and smiling and looking happy, and the tambourine. Oh, I loved it all. One hand with the maracas, one hand with the tambourine, and I used to practice that at home. I used to, every now and again, I'd watch an episode on the Saturday morning, and in the afternoon I'd get mum, well, I wouldn't get mum to drive me, we'd go to Bath to see my nan who lived there, and there was a great music shop there called Assembly Music, run by Steve Gardner, and it was great. And him and Nigel, the other guy that used to work there, used to be there obviously every Saturday, and I would go down and look at the new drum kits and smell the new drum kits, and it'd be amazing, and the cymbals, and every now and again I'd buy a new tambourine or some more maracas, and it was great, and I'd go home and play on those. And eventually I got into the Beatles later on and found out there was loads of maracas and cowbells and tambourines on their music too. But my love of all that started with the Monkees. Also, my love of sparkle kits, I think, started with looking at Mickey Dolenz playing on that Gretsch kit, Champagne Sparkle with two toms. It's like, wow, Ringo had one, you've got two on the top. Wow, that's amazing. I never really quite realised why the camera never used to focus on his hands too much, because early on he didn't really know what he was doing. He had to learn to play the drums on the job, which of course I have to say he did incredibly well. And if you've ever heard the Monkees Live in 1967 album, that's great. They sound like a real proper hardcore garage band. It's like, it's great. It's kicking, it's really exciting and raw, and just like, he never had time to learn fills, and with 30,000 girls screaming, you just play it nice and straight like Ringo did, just bang it out. And it kind of worked because that's all he could do anyway. But I really liked the way he played drums, and them playing their instruments, which they ended up doing. As we know, Davy could sing and play a little bit of everything. Mickey Dolenz could sing well, but had to play drums. Peter Tork and Mike Nesmith were already musicians, so they could sing and they could play guitars and bass and keyboards. They were very talented, especially Peter was really talented, and yet they made him out to be the dummy. Kind of weird. And the first two albums, The Monkees and More of the Monkees, are fantastic, rammed full of the early hits. I'm a Believer, Mary Mary, Last Train to Clarksville, She. But it's the third album, the difficult third album, which I know they had to fight for, and even they say in interviews didn't sell as well as the first two. Well, they had studio players playing on it and they were just singing. But this album here, Headquarters, it is one of my favourite, if not my favourite Monkees album. and I used to listen to this over and over and over again. And this is like an original pressing from '67. And the other album, which I thought I had here, but I don't, it must be in storage, is the one after this. Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn and Jones Limited. I think that's what it's called. That too doesn't have them playing on everything. They bring session drummers back and a few other people back. But this is the only one where they actually, apart from the live one, this is the only one where they actually play everything. But those are my two favourite Monkees albums, but I have them all. Clearly not over there though. So that means they must be in storage at my mum's house, I think. In the garage, I guess. Safely stored in the garage. But this album was just fantastic. I remember listening to it and seeing on the sleeve notes that Davey played a jawbone. Wow, a jawbone, jeez. And Mickey drums guitar, and seeing what they all played and stuff. It's like, wow, and seeing the pictures of them in the studio, working away, slaving away, looking happy there. As I say, it stands as a great record. I know it didn't sell as well as the others, but who cares? It was them wanting to do their own thing, to be respected on their own, feet as being good musicians, respected musicians. And they pulled it off. And so many great songs on here, like You Told Me, Forget That Girl, Shades of Grey, You Just May Be the One, For Pete's Sake, which was the one they used to play at the end, when all their faces used to come up, a bit like a Hard Day's Night thing at the end. Sunny Girlfriend's brilliant. They're all brilliant. Early Morning Blues and Greens is kind of a serious one, a bit like Shades of Grey. That wasn't all mop-top craziness, but a bit darker. And yeah, it's just an amazing sounding record. And I think when I'm sort of referencing music that comes to me, singer-songwriter music, I used to think it was, maybe just things like the Beatles and Dylan and certain people, the band and Neil Young, Harvest, things like that I would reference for a period of time. But just over the last 2 years, I've got back into the Monkees again, watching their program on the series on YouTube. I've got season 2, which is brilliant, because that's really wacky. Season 2, they're corpsing all the time and just having lots of fun because they knew it was going to be axed and they didn't really care. But season 1 is where they're still doing the job and it's all fresh and it's new, and some of those episodes are just brilliant. But listening to that music made me think that I was really aware of that kind of Californian sound, but I didn't realise how much of that sound the Monkees had in their music as well, though it was seen as bubblegum pop. But they've got like members of the Wrecking Crew and Glenn Campbell and people in the studio playing on the first few records, and that sound they're creating is just as cool as the Byrds and Crosby, Stills and Nash and all that. It's just from that same vibe. As I say, I know everyone's got this thing, it's the Monkees, but no, I think that has to stop, man. I mean, they're proper band. And when you hear certainly the last 2 albums, they're the two that I've mentioned, Headquarters and Pisces, Capricorn and Jones Limited. When I play those to people, they're like, oh yeah, actually, the first 2 were kind of bubblegum pop. These 2 albums aren't so much. They're a bit more serious. You can hear they've listened to like Pet Sounds and Revolver and Rubber Soul and other stuff, and as I say, the Byrds albums and stuff. You can hear it's all going on, and they're putting that into their music. And doing a great job, and of course all their voices anyway were fantastic. Put the 4 of them together, the harmonies just worked. It was just one of those moments in popular music where you put some randoms together, so to speak, and it kind of pays off. So yeah, Monkees, man, I tell you, I love them. They still make me laugh. I've got a soft spot for them, but also my childhood self, fond memories, but also as a professional musician, I can reference certain things from these records, read drum sounds, read some harmony stuff, some instrumentation that I could use that I've brought forward into singer-songwriter sessions, and I haven't always told people where I got it from, because they might go, oh, if it's the Monkees, I'm not sure. So thank you, Monkees. And I know there's only Mickey left now, because unfortunately we lost Michael in December, I think, last year, and Peter and Davey went before that, so not many there's only a Monkee now, and long live Mickey Dolenz. So there you go, the Monkees, Headquarters. What a band, what a great record, things to go and check out. Inspired me massively to play music, and also in my, I guess, a bit like the Beatles did, their humour and sarcasm and wit and silly faces and looks to camera, breaking that fourth wall and all that kind of thing, which I know a lot of comedians were doing at the time in their films. It's kind of a hip thing to do, to look at the camera and go, what do you guys think at home, and all that, just all that zany stuff I found that I actually enjoyed and took to school with me. And as here I am as a father myself, I'm still putting little bits of their comedy, which again I didn't really notice till I watched the show again. I was putting in my everyday speech and stuff like that, and silly little things I would do. Anyway, the Monkees, they have it. As ever, in the comments below, please write what you think about the Monkees, good, bad and ugly, whatever, what songs you like, what albums you like, what you think of Mickey Dolenz playing, all that kind of stuff, because as you know, I love that interaction with everybody. It's always a good thing. So have a good day, guys, enjoy the Monkees, and we'll speak soon.